La mayor parte de los habitantes del planeta se declaran creyentes. Esto debería provocar un diálogo entre las religiones. No debemos dejar de orar por él y colaborar con quienes piensan distinto.
Confío en Buda.
Creo en Dios.
Creo en Jesucristo.
Creo en Dios, Alá.
Muchos piensan distinto, sienten distinto, buscan a Dios o encuentran a Dios de diversa manera. En esta multitud, en este abanico de religiones, hay una sola certeza que tenemos para todos. Todos somos hijos de Dios.
Creo en el amor.
Creo en el amor.
Creo en el amor.
Creo en el amor.
Confío en vos para difundir mi petición de este mes. Que el diálogo sincero entre hombres y mujeres de diversas religiones conlleve frutos de paz y justicia. Confío en tu oración.
One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her, the kings of earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries." Then the angel carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittering with gold, precious stones and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand, filled with the abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her forehead was a mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and of the abominations of earth. I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of God's holy people, the blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus.
Francis Parkman, 1823 to 1893, American historian. The Jesuits then, as now, were the most forcible exponents of ultramontane principles. The Church to rule the world, the Pope to rule the Church, the Jesuits to rule the Pope. Such was and is the simple program of the Order of Jesus, and to it they have held fast except on a few rare occasions of misunderstanding with the vice-regent of Christ. Hector Macpherson, 1851 to 1924, prolific Scottish writer and journalist. So hurtful was the Jesuit order found to be that up to 1860 it was expelled no fewer than 70 times from countries which had suffered from its machinations. In spite of continental warnings, England under Queen Victoria 1837 to 1901, who opened up communication with the Vatican in 1877, and enabled the order to carry out its Second Irish Massacre, 1845 to 1850, has become a Jesuit dumping ground. Those whom other countries have found from sad experience to be enemies, Britain allows to land on her shores and to carry on, unmolested, their work of iniquity. We are carrying toleration to excess, and unless there is a change of policy, this nation will one day pay a heavy penalty. For the Jeremy J. Crowley, 1861 to 1927, American ex-Catholic priest. All through the Middle Ages and the Renaissance period, the popes kept Italy in turmoil and bloodshed, for their own family and territorial advantages, and they kept all Europe in turmoil for 2 centuries after the Reformation, in fact, just as long as they could in the wars of religion. Their whole policy is based on stirring up hatred and promoting conflicts from which they hope to draw worldly advantage. Popes and their Jesuitical agents have been and are the instigators of wars, and while the world is having real pain, Rome is having champagne. The Jesuit Superior General is at the head of this black and mute militia which thinks, wills, acts, obeys as the passive instrument of his designs. Their whole life must have but one aim, the advancement of the Jesuit order to which they are attached. How long shall the Roman Catholic hierarchy play the people for fools? Shall the government be of the people, for the people, and by the people, or by the Pope? Let's not let the Pope of Rome name our president for us. Lovers of your country, beware of Jesuitical intrigues, the political power of Romanism, and the honeyed words of politicians reaching after the presidency. Ellen G. White, 1827 to 1915, prolific author and American Christian pioneer. Jesuitism inspired its followers with fanaticism. There was no crime too great for them to commit, no deception too base for them to practice, no disguise too difficult for them to assume. It was a fundamental principle of the order that the end justifies the means. By this code, lying, theft, perjury, assassination were not only pardonable but commendable when they serve the interests of the Church. Under various disguises, the Jesuits worked their way into offices of state, climbing up to be the counselors of kings and shaping the policy of nations. Edmund Ronaine, 1832 to 1911, former Freemason who served as both secretary and master of Keystone Lodge. The religion of Masonry is a system of absolute despotism, and like that of Rome, demands a blind, unquestioning obedience to all its laws, rules, and edicts, whether right or wrong. What a singular commentary on the indifference, the subserviency, or the cowardice of society, that an institution professedly organized by such cunning knaves, the Jesuits, and for such base purposes, and which has been sustained by fraud, falsehood, and deception from the commencement of its career to the present time, should be permitted today to dictate to, if not virtually to rule the nation, and to create such a dread in communities that even some of the ministers of Christian denominations, who detest its vile philosophy and who would like to see it swept from the face of the earth, are absolutely afraid to mention its name, either in the pulpit, the prayer meeting, or the Sabbath school, lest its secret vendetta vengeance might, in some concealed manner, be wreaked upon them. Adolf Hitler, 1889 to 1945, Austrian-born German politician and the leader of the Nazi Party. I have learned most of all from the Jesuit order. So far, there has been nothing more imposing on earth than the hierarchical organization of the Catholic Church. A good part of that organization I have transported direct to my own party. The Catholic Church must be held up as an example. I will tell you a secret. I am founding an order. In Himmler, I see our Ignatius de Loyola. Walter Friedrich Schellenberg, 1910 to 1952, German SS Brigadier Führer, who rose through the ranks of the SS to become the head of foreign intelligence. The SS had been organized by Himmler according to the principles of the Jesuit order. The rules of service and spiritual exercises prescribed by Ignatius de Loyola constituted a model which Himmler strove carefully to copy. Absolute obedience was the supreme rule. Every order had to be executed without comment. Avro Manhattan, 1914 to 1990, a writer and philosopher. The Jesuits are one of the largest stockholders in the American Steel Company, Republic, and National. They are also among the most important owners of the 4 greatest aircraft manufacturing companies in the U.S., Boeing, Lockheed, Douglas, and Curtiss-Wright. No political event or circumstance can be evaluated without the knowledge of the Vatican's part in it, and no significant world situation exists in which the Vatican does not play an important explicit or implicit role. Alberto Rivera, 1935 to 1997, ex-Jesuit. The higher I went in the Jesuit order, the more corruption I saw within the institution. I was invited to attend a secret black mass by high-ranking Jesuits, including Superior General Pedro Arupe, in a monastery in the northern part of Spain. When I knelt to kiss the ring of a high official, I saw a symbol on that ring that made my blood run cold. It was a Masonic symbol, the compass and the square. A thing I hated, and I had been told to fight against it. I found out the Jesuit general was also a Mason and a member of the Communist Party in Spain. Frederick Tupper Southey III, 1936 to 2007, American composer, musician, author, and artist. The Roman Inquisition had been administered since 1542 by the Jesuits. Edmund Paris, 1894 to 1970, author of The Secret History of the Jesuits. The public is practically unaware of the overwhelming responsibility carried by the Vatican and its Jesuits in the starting of the 2 world wars, a situation which may be explained in part by the gigantic finances at the disposition of the Vatican and its Jesuits, giving them power in so many spheres, especially since the last conflict. The Jesuits are a secret society, a sort of Masonic order, with super-added features of revolting odiousness and 1,000 times more dangerous. The Führer had come to power thanks to the votes of the Catholic Zentrum, Central Party overseen by Jesuit Ludwig Kass, only 5 years before, 1933. But most of the objectives cynically revealed in Mein Kampf were already realized. This book was written by the Jesuit-controlled Father Bernhard Stempfler and signed by Hitler. For it was the Society of Jesus which perfected the famous Pan-German program as laid out in this book, and the Führer endorsed it. Nino Lobello, 1922 to 1997, American author and journalist, specialized in writing about the Vatican. The Pope's confessor, an ordinary priest, must be a Jesuit. He must visit the Vatican once a week at a fixed time, and he alone may absolve the Pope of his sins. Michael Bunker, American writer, historian, theologian. There is a conspiracy against Christendom. But who are Satan's agents in this conspiracy? The agents are the Jesuits. Even though the Jesuits exude vast influence and control in the areas of theology, education, recorded history, and current media, I am still perplexed that virtually no literature exists exposing the Jesuits' influence on mainline Protestantism. In this work, the author uncovers forgotten history regarding the cooperative salvation theology of the Jesuits. From Cain to Charles G. Finney, this book proves that modern Protestantism has abandoned the doctrines of grace and embraced the satanic doctrines of cooperative salvation.